We'll bite. Let's talk about Ronald Acuña Jr. coming up here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. This is Teddy Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code Locked On MLB. That's LOCKDON MLB for $20 off your first purchase. And as always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. So on today's show, we'll talk about the Mariners' 3-2 win over the Royals. Then we'll discuss Ronald Acuña Jr. and the Mariners. But let's start with last night's game. The Mariners rolled out a hilarious lineup. Probably the worst lineup they've rolled out this entire year. Donovan Solano was hitting cleanup, folks. And you know me, I'm a big Donnie Barrels guy, but even I can realize that that's just ridiculous. As soon as I saw this lineup, though, I knew they were going to win. But yeah, this lineup not only didn't feature, the team's MVP candidate in Cal Raleigh, it also included all the right-handed hitters that they use against left-handed pitching, which are typically, their worst hitters, including Dylan Moore, who after last night has now struck out 22 times in his last 36 at bats. So let's start there. Is it time to DFA him? Because like I get it from the Mariners side that wanting to stay the course and stick by your guy. He's the longest tenured Mariner, yada yada yada. But 22 strikeouts and 36 at bats. I mean, we've seen Dylan Moore go on some bad stretches before over the last half decade plus. However, this is the worst stretch by far for him in his career, but I think I've seen of any player ever. Like 22 strikeouts and 36 at bats is insane.
Yeah, I mean it's literally a 60% strikeout rate. Like,
yeah,
we've seen great hitters be terrible for a month. And it's, it sucks. It's not fun, but you kind of live with it and you get through the other side and everything's fine. I've never seen somebody run a 60% strikeout rate over the course of essentially an entire month. Now you sit here and say like, oh, well, it's only 30 at bats. 60% strikeout rate.
He has one hit in like 33 days.
Mm-hmm. A little broken bat bleeder off of Garrett Crochet. So he's not making contact. He's not walking. He's not playing good defense. Like, his defense is significantly down from where it was last year. So right now, his entire value to this team is as a pinch runner.
Yeah.
Late in the game. There's a reason Billy Hamilton, never found long-term staying power in the big leagues. There's a reason that Terrence Gore was just kept around for September rosters. Like, they're not valuable players if all you can do is pinch run. And by the way, at least Billy Hamilton could play some center field. Like, Dylan Moore right now is a worthless player. Like, his presence on the roster alone is actively hurting you. So how long are you going to hold out for the upswing? And how do you get him to find that upswing when you can't possibly play him? Right? Like, you cannot give Dylan Moore at bats right now.
Yeah.
But you can't expect him to get out of it without giving him at bats. So you're stuck in this weird spot where what you really need is you need Dylan Moore down in Tacoma, where he can play every day and the results don't matter and he can figure something out. I mean, you can't. You have to put him on waivers. You have to DFA him, and he has to clear, and then he has to accept the assignment. And right now, he might. clear. I mean, he almost certainly will accept the assignment because he doesn't want to forfeit the rest of his salary.
I mean, for only a couple $1,000,000, I could see a team just taking him on, knowing what he has been.
Maybe, but what he has been for the last month is the worst player in the history of Major League Baseball.
It's been so bad. It's been, and you can easily see how lost he is. I forget if it was the first strikeout or the second strikeout last night, but he gets a hanging breaking ball in the middle of the plate and he just flails at it. It's not off the plate. It's on the plate and he flails at it. This is an awful looking swing. And now look, Dylan Moore has some pretty bad looking swings. Like his whole setup in general is not aesthetic pleasing. But that was bad. That did not look like a major league hitter. And obviously the numbers are not reflective of a major league hitter right now over the last 5 weeks. Again, it's been one hit since May 27th. It's July 3rd, folks.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, they're giving him his at-bats against lefties, right? They're not asking him to go out there and face the murderer's row of righties. And putting him in situations where he hasn't succeeded in the past. He's just not capable of hitting major league pitching right now. And you know, there's nothing he does on a baseball field that Leo Rivas can't do better. Like, Rivas is a better player right now. Does Dylan Moore have more upside? Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, we know Dylan Moore has, 20 home run pop and he can steal 20, 30 bags if he got enough opportunities. And yeah, he's going to be terrible for a month at a time. Not this terrible. This is the first time he's been this bad. It's the first time I think anybody's been this bad. But yeah, so like there's definitely upside with Dylan Moore, but like, how do you fix him without giving him reps? But how do you give him reps when he is objectively the worst player in Major League Baseball right now? You can't. You're fighting for your life every night to hold on to a wild card spot against like 7 other teams that are within 3 games of you. How do you pull that off? You don't. So, yeah, I think you probably should DFA him, take a shot that he clears waivers, and you can put him down in Tacoma where he can play every single day. Call up Leo Rivas as your utility guy and go from there. And if somebody claims Dylan Moore and they save you a couple $1,000,000, thank you. Thank you, Dylan, for all the work you did. Thank you for some really awesome memories that we'll have of you. But we can't make this work without playing you, and we can't play you because you're the worst player we've ever seen. So we're in a catch-22. We have to be able to send you down. It's that simple. And if another major league team wants to keep you on their roster, fine. Go ahead. We'll save $2 million. We'll put it elsewhere. It's a bummer of a situation, but it's time. Like I don't have time to be sentimental here. It's time to put up or shut up. I'm fighting for my life every single night to scratch out a couple runs, and I can't afford to give you at bats in the most advantageous matchups I could possibly give you.
Yeah.
I can't play shorthanded every single night for an entire year again.
Yeah.
The other team has a 26-man roster. I'm trying to make this work with a 23-man roster because I got 2 guys in the bullpen I'll never use, and I've got Dylan Moore, who I can't use. You can't do that. It's not manageable. So you need to DFA Dylan Moore, hope he clears, put him into Tacoma. And if he doesn't, oh, well, you saved $1.5 million, $1.8 million, whatever it is. Sure. If you don't think those little savings matter to this ownership group. So yeah, they need to DFA Dylan Moore. It's time.
So minimum 30 plate appearances since May 28th. Demo has 39 plate appearances. So 372 hitters qualify. Dylan Moore, dead last, 372nd out of 372 hitters in WRC plus, a negative 59, 028, 103, 028, the slash line. His 56.4% K rate is by far tops in all of baseball over that stretch. Martin Maldonado is second with a 47.9% K rate, which is also god awful. I haven't seen anything like that. That's insane. No. And that's just not a major league ball player.
Think of how bad Donovan Solano was in April. better than Dylan Moore.
This is significantly worse than Donovan Solano's starts of the year. I mean, this is worse than AJ Pollock. This is worse than Tommy La Stella.
Long.
Yeah.
It's not tenable.
It's one of, if not the worst stretches we've seen from an individual player in Seattle in quite some time, if not in my entire time watching the Seattle Mariners.
I can't remember.
That's not an exaggeration. It's over a month of just absolute pitiful baseball from Dylan Moore right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they got to do something about it. We'll see if a team, given his track record, takes a shot on him. It's still not a lot of money.
Yeah.
Especially for some teams out there that are contending. So they might be willing to just take the shot on him. But we'll see. But I just, like, for all the reasons that you mentioned, like they have to do something here with him. They just can't keep going on like this. But I kind of think they will.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I kind of think they'll just stay the course, and they won't make a decision on him until around the deadline, until after they make a move or two.
Yep.
All right, we'll keep talking about this game. We'll talk about Randy Arozarena and Logan Gilbert in just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you once again by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a Mariners game, either by yourself or with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and suddenly you realize, I want to be in the stands. Well, that's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. For instant reactions following every Mariners game, be sure to tune in to the Mariners postcast with Anderson Hurst, Christopher Crawford, available on both the Locked On Mariners YouTube and podcast feeds. So we didn't get too many donations between yesterday's episode and today. However, we have a pretty significant update for you still regarding our Feeding America fundraiser. Because not only did Ben come through with $15, Mo Movers came through with $500, saying Mo Movers loves Locked On Mariners and hates hunger. So thanks to the folks over at Mo Movers for that, because their donation, along with Ben's, now brings us to a grand total of $9,256 raised for Feeding America. So we are getting close to that $10,000 mark. Would love to get there here with how many days do we have left now? 9, 10?
10, I think.
10. Yeah, the All-Star break is coming up pretty fast here, folks. Colby, for anyone who, even though we've been doing this for almost a month now, for anyone who may not know what we got going on with Feeding America, tell them all about it.
Feeding America is a fantastic organization that aims to do exactly what their name says, feed America. Despite all the wealth that resides in this country, 1 out of every 5 children have no idea when or where their next meal is coming from, and over 50 million adults have no idea when or how they're going to eat. And if you don't know where your next meal is coming from, nothing else really matters. So Feeding America aims to change that. They work directly with wholesalers to buy food at a drastic discount. And so every dollar we raise, they can turn into at least 10 delicious meals for people who desperately need them. So we partnered with them a few years ago. We ended up raising around $15,000. So we're back doing this again this year. And like Ty said, we are nearing the 10,000 dollar mark, which would be awesome because it's a nice round number. But hey, there's nothing saying we have to stop at 10,000 either. So if you guys want to donate to this great cause, the link is in the description of wherever you're listening or watching, this podcast. You can also talk to your employer. Some employers will match or double match or whatever your donations. So, maybe mention it to your employer, or tell your friends, tell your family, share the link with them and ask them to donate. That would help out a lot too. If you tapped all that out, then you can still donate simply by pushing the subscribe button. For every new subscriber Ty I get, we are donating 10 cents. At the end, we'll do a big lump sum donation. And we're up over 200 new subscribers since we started this, which is 200 plus meals. It's really that simple. Push the subscribe button and you're donating a meal to somebody who's starving. So it really is a lot of ways you can help out, and we appreciate everybody who already has. We enjoy doing this, and we probably need to do a little more frequently. We didn't really do one last year, but we really appreciate everybody who's pitched in, especially over the last 2-3 days. We've seen a huge influx of donations, both in terms of money and also just the number of individual donations. So it's been awesome to track over the last 4 or 5 days, and it's nice to see us finishing strong, I guess, as we approach the end of our I keep calling it giveaway, the end of our fundraiser. But like Ty said, only about 10 days to go. So let's dig deep. Let's see if we can get to the 10,000 mark, and hey, you know what, maybe even beyond. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys so much for donating. Thank you for your, sharing. Thank you for subscribing and all that, so that we can help, help feed America. It's awesome. And the support we've received so far is greatly appreciated.
Yeah. So thank you guys again so much for your generosity. And again, let's see how far we can take this thing before we wrap things up here in the next week and a half or so. All right, so let's tie a bow here on last night's game before we move on to the Acuña discussion that I'm sure a lot of you clicked on this video for, or clicked on this podcast and start listening to it for. Randy Arozarena hit his 4th home run of this series. He's doing a little bit of a Cal Raleigh impression against the Kansas City Royals right now. Goes 2 for 3 last night. Adds a sacrifice fly that winds up being the difference in this game. Had 3 hard hit balls on the night. He is locked down, which is really nice to see. He's kind of being the Robin to Cal's Batman right now, and the Mariners absolutely need that at the moment. Logan Gilbert only goes 4 2/3 last night. That was the other pretty big hurdle the Mariners had to overcome. He only gave up 1 earned run. 7 strikeouts, led the game in whiffs, only 3 hard hit balls given up. But he throws 95 pitches and again can't even get through 5, which is just not good enough. So we've seen this a lot from Logan this year, even pre IL stint. Like, he'll get the strikeouts. He's not having a ton of damage done against him, but the pitch count continues to get inflated. He's not able to put guys away early. And last night he walked 3 dudes as well, and so that ballooned the pitch count even more. So I don't know. Just watching him right now, what do you think is going on with Logan at the moment?
Yeah, he just looks a little off. Stuff is still fine, but the command is not where it needs to be. The control is spotty. 3 walks is a lot for Logan, especially in less than 5 innings. So it's the stuff is still pretty good, which is great, but he's just not spotting it well. And to his credit, Kansas City is a team that prides itself on not striking out, and he was still able to find the strikeout quite often. But you got to get some quick outs. You got to get some quick innings. His night was effectively cut pretty substantially after the first inning. He had to throw 26, 27 pitches after the first, and he just never really found that 8-9 pitch inning to kind of counteract that. So it's, I don't think he's unhealthy, but I do think there's still some lingering effect with his elbow that is maybe affecting command and control just a little bit. And it's something he needs to adjust to. And, the splitter is kind of his best pitch. And it's also a pitch that he's kind of trying to, move around and use less frequently, but it's the pitch that's generating the most whiffs. It's the pitch that's most likely to get him quick outs. And so, he's kind of walking that, like, how often do I use it? How often do I, like, is there a point where this is too much and I need to switch it up? So yeah, he's kind of trying to operate with, not without his best pitch. He still throws it, but he can't, or he's not going to throw it as much as he would like. And it makes the fastball less valuable. So it's easier to lay off of the split because you're going to see less of them, and the fastball doesn't play up as well. So I think it's just a lot of little things that he'll work his way through. I think he'll come out the other side on this, but yeah, he needs to get back to going 6 pretty much every single time out, like he did most of last year. But I think he'll get there. It's just he's not quite there yet.
Yeah. Quickly running down the lineup a little bit here. Mitch Garver with another multi-hit game. Neither of his 2 hits were hard hit, but still another multi-hit game for Mitch Garver. We should have threatened him with a Harry Ford call-up sooner, honestly. JP Crawford with 2 hits, which is nice to see because he's been slumping a little bit. So nice to see him get on the board there, especially with an opposite field double. Ben Williamson with the big double last night to kind of set things up for the game-winning inning for the Mariners.
Yes. Almost screwed it up.
Yeah. Williamson driving that ball to center field, and then earlier on in the game actually pulled a ball in the air, which is insane to see from Ben Williamson. I haven't seen him do that much since hitting his first and only home run in Toronto. We know the deal with Ben. Like, most of the time that he's making contact with the ball, that ball is going into right field. Yeah. So that was a little bit of a weird outlier night for Ben last night. But hey, maybe this lineup could use I don't know, someone named Ronald Acuña Jr. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So we don't have anything better to talk about, so why not? We'll bite. Yesterday on MLB Network, Joel Sherman threw out the idea of the Braves trading Ronald Acuña Jr., who has been the hottest hitter on the planet since returning from his second ACL injury, to the Seattle Mariners. And basically his argument for this, both from the Braves side and the Mariners side, we'll get into that in a second, but from the Braves side is, look, you're terrible this year. Spencer Schwellenbach is now on the IL with a fractured elbow. Spencer Strider has been hurt. Ronaldo Lopez has been hurt. Chris Sale's been hurt. Ozzy Albies has been terrible. Michael Harris has been terrible. Austin Riley hasn't been as good as you need him to be. Things are going sideways as far as this year is concerned, and your future outlook isn't that great because your farm system kind of stinky. So, are you going to be able to win a championship in the next 3 years, which is as many years that Acuña has left on his deal, or should you maximize the value that he has? Go talk to a team that has right now, per Baseball America, 9 top 100 prospects, and go restock your farm and set yourself up for the future. And then from the Mariners side of things, it's pretty obvious what his argument would be. You've only made the playoffs once since 2001. You've never been to the World Series. If not now, when? So funny enough, just a little bit before Joel Sherman went on MLB Network talking about this, our good buddy Jage at the Jage page on Twitter put out a hypothetical Ronald Acuña Jr. trade. And so we're going to kind of use that as the reference point here for what this could potentially cost. Now, maybe it costs more than this. Maybe it costs less than this. Maybe the package in general just looks different than this. Whatever. We're not saying that this is actually what it's going to take to trade for Ronald Acuña Jr., just to be clear. But Jage here has the Mariners sending George Kirby, Matt Brash, Lazaro Montes, Colt Emerson, and Johnny Farmello to Atlanta for Ronald Acuña Jr., and had a poll accompanying that at the time of this recording has 1,983 votes on it, and 57.5% of the vote, and I'm going to assume at least a good majority of the people who voted on this poll are Mariners fans, voted no. And I don't get why, because obviously this is a lot, but we're talking about Ronald Acuña Jr.
Yeah. The 27-year-old, so just entering his prime, who you have control of for the next 4 pennant races.
Yeah.
And is only going to make $17 million a year each of the next 3 years. Who's got a 9.5 win season under his belt. He's got a 40-70 season under his belt, and he just made the All-Star team despite missing the first 50 games of the season. And by the way, rightfully so, made the All-Star team. That's how insane he's been worth, 2.5 wins in 35 games?
Yeah.
He is a threat at the plate. He's a threat on the bases. He's a threat in the field. He's got a great arm. He is marketable as heck. He is what you hope Julio will one day be. And he might be available. No, we don't know if he's going to be, but maybe if he is, even slightly. Your farm system's never been in better shape. You have 9 of the top 100. You're probably going to add another one at the draft this year. You have an opportunity to even restock your farm system even more with the bonus pool that you're about to have. You're also set to have a pretty nice international free agent class by all accounts. You have young pitching in place. You have young position players locked in at some of the most important positions. You are in the middle of a competitive window, and you haven't won a division in 20 some odd years. If not now, when?
Yeah.
If not Acuña, who?
Right.
And I'd just like to point this out, that the Juan Soto thing that happened a few years ago, the Mariners were apparently in on that.
Yeah.
Like they looked at that and they were willing to part with either Kirby or Gilbert.
Yeah, Ryan Divish has publicly said this, yes. I believe on Ben Ranieri's podcast.
Mm-hmm. And the Nationals apparently just didn't like George Kirby, didn't like Logan Gilbert, which weird, but considering they got Mackenzie Gore and James Wood and CJ Abrams, like, okay, Seattle probably couldn't compete with that package. Now they can. They can compete. They can outbid anybody for Ronald Acuña Jr. And the nice little thing about this is that the Braves, their biggest hole in their organization, middle infielders. Mm-hmm. The biggest strength of the Mariners farm system, middle infielders. As Joel Sherman pointed out as well, if you're the Braves, you've won a World Series in the last decade. You did that without Acuña. You made the playoffs last year without Acuña. You still have Riley. You still have Olsen. You still have Murphy, you're probably not going to have Albies next year, so you really don't have a second baseman or a shortstop going into next year.
Yeah.
The Mariners have Cole Young. The Mariners have Colt Emerson. The Mariners have Felton Celestin. The Mariners have JP Crawford.
Michael Arroyo.
Yep. So I just have to ask again, if to Mariner fans, if not now, when you have Cal in his prime, when you have a young Julio who's not making any money, when you have the rotation that you have with all the talent, when you have the farm system depth that you've never had in the history of your franchise, if not now, when? If not Acuña, who? And how often do these situations line up where you have an all-time player in his prime become available via trade, where it not only makes sense for you to spend the assets because you're right in the right window to do this, but you also can afford to do it and still have pieces left over to go out and fix other holes on your team.
Yeah.
When is this all going to line up again?
Right.
The odds are never.
Mm-hmm.
If not now, when?
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about what the game plan would be after. Like, let's say they actually make this deal, right? Let's just work off of Jage's hypothetical trade here. So you've traded Kirby, and you've traded Brash. So now you have a couple holes in your rotation and your bullpen. A couple of pretty significant holes now.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do?
Heaney and Bednar.
Yeah.
I mean, those are two guys that aren't going to take elite prospects. Those are two guys on a team that's definitely looking to sell. Heaney's a rental. And oh, by the way, what do you think is going to be easier to do? Lure effective starting pitching to Seattle in the offseason, or lure a 9-win hitter in his prime to Seattle? So in terms of what it does in 2026, whatever. I have a starting outfield of a Rosarena, Julio, and Acuña that I then get to go around to the Seth Lugos of the world, to the,
Zach Gallons.
I get to go the Merrill Kellys. I could say, hey, not only do you get to pitch in the best pitcher park in baseball, your starting outfield has three guys whose floor is 2020 offensively. You're throwing to the best catcher in baseball. We just put ourselves out there and said we're trying to win the World Series every year for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's an incredible pitch. And oh, by the way, again, look at our history on pitching development. We're great at this.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be in a rotation with Brian Wu and Logan Gilbert, like Bryce Miller. It is such an easy sell to make to pitchers, much more so than it is to hitters. So for this year, go get Andrew Heaney, go get David Bednar, maybe go get Cano from Baltimore. The reliever part is fine. You'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Not worry about it.
Yeah, that's not a huge part of it. It's really the starter thing.
Right. And look, are you going to downgrade from George Kirby? Yeah. I mean, you're not getting a guy as good as George Kirby. No way.
Yeah.
The difference between Kirby and Andrew Heaney, I don't know. Maybe actually, since you've already traded for Acuña, does that maybe make Seattle go, well, screw it, let's go trade for Zach Gallen? Maybe it might. Now, is there going to be enough money to do that? We'll leave the money aside for now. But yeah, you're not going to do better. But the difference between what you've been running out there in right field all year versus Ronald Acuña Jr. is significantly higher than the difference of going from Kirby to Heaney or Kelly or whatever.
You have to be opportunistic, because here's what I would say. If the Astros had the farm system you have, they would absolutely be in on this.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. They can't afford it right now. They don't have the pieces to put together to make it happen. But if they did, they would be doing this.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you know what? You're probably going to have to outbid the Dodgers. Even though the Dodgers are stacked, they would still be looking to do something like this. Yep. The simple fact of the matter is you're in a rare position where nobody can really outbid you. at this juncture. You have the thing that the Braves need the most in spades. You have the opportunity. You have the timing is right. You have the ability, the means. Like, it's never going to be this obvious again. And I get it. We're talking about a hypothetical that the Braves are almost certainly not going to trade Ronald Acuña Jr. But if they did, if they, kind of let it be known, like, we'd listen. If we didn't hear the Mariners listed as like the top team every single time it was talked about, it would be an indictment not only on Jerry DiPoto, not only on Justin Hollander, but on John Stanton and Chris Larson and everybody who works in this organization that has any hand whatsoever in talent acquisition. It's a scathing indictment on them because, again, this type of opportunity almost never happens, and it especially never happens when you happen to be in a position to be the high bidder.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of?
You'd be trading in this hypothetical again on top of Kirby and Brash, 3 of your top 5 prospects.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to do what's best to build a sustainable winner. You know what you have to do in order to build a sustainable winner? You have to win.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about winning regular season games, because Jerry DiPoto loves to mention their record among all the
85 regular season wins every single year. Who cares?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about winning playoff games, playoff series, pennants, etc.
At the end of the day,
at a certain point, and we've talked about this on the Patreon, and I won't say exactly what I say on the Patreon when describing this, because it's not for this platform. But at a certain point, you just got to put it all out there.
Yeah.
Especially year 10 into this regime. If this is a real thing, and I have doubts that it's a real thing. I have doubts that the Braves are
right now
actually going to explore this.
What they should do, what blah, blah, what.
Yeah.
The opinion of one very respected writer thinks that they should do, blah. We get that.
I do not think the Atlanta Braves are going to trade Ronald Acuña Jr.
Nope,
at least not this year.
I agree.
However, if they are willing to do that, you have to do everything in your power to make that happen if you're the Seattle Mariners. I firmly believe that, because it is not often that these opportunities come to pass, especially this year in this particular market, where any other option pales in comparison to Ronald Acuña Jr.
To mention, the American League is historically weak this year.
Historically weak. Plus, you're not only setting yourself up for this year, for a run this year, you're setting yourself up for the next 3 years. And oh, by the way, you're concerned about the return that you give up. Guess what? You can probably get a lot of that back if things go sideways and you want to trade Ronald Acuña Jr. with 2 years left, a year left even.
Look at what the Padres did.
Yeah.
They rented essentially Juan Soto for a year and a half and then flipped him for 2/5 of their very good rotation, and they're still playoff contenders. They're still World Series contenders.
Yeah.
Because they know, give them credit. And again, it's not like they fleeced them. The Nationals got James Wood, who's an all-star. They got CJ Abrams, who's an all-star. They got, Mackenzie Gore, who is probably an all-star. They got 3 all-stars, and Wood might win a couple MVPs.
Yeah.
Like, the Nationals did really well in that deal.
Yeah.
You think Padres care? No, they don't. And I think I would, my final point would be this. What are you afraid of in doing this deal? Oh, what if it doesn't work out and we're just kind of good but not great? Oh no, what would that be like? We've only witnessed it for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, what if the farm system's bad and we end up having to trade Logan Gilbert or, just trade Ronald Acuña?
There is no justification
No.
for not getting very aggressive on a Ronald Acuña Jr. trade. None whatsoever.
Nope.
The cost is far from prohibitive. Talking about the money involved here.
Yep.
It is an insane deal for one of the 5 to 10 best hitters in all of baseball.
Age 27 through 30 of Ronald Acuña should cost you $500 million.
Yep. So a lot to think about. But that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.